Alright, folks. I think we're live for, call it whatever you want, the ultimate GSPro test, the most extensive GSPro penalty test ever done. Whatever you want to call it. This is going to be the most in-depth, hopefully conclusive, largest data set as far as penalty, and the most efficient and the most controlled that can possibly be done. Because I'm on the load screen here. C-Drum is the absolute man. I'll show you guys once we get into it. But basically, how this came about is first shout out to Bogeyman Bill. He initially gave me an idea for a video about doing kind of on-course practice in the deep rough, figuring out how much you get penalized by how much club you take. So what the penalty would be with like an 8-iron out of the deep rough versus like a 3 wood. So shout out to him. Shout out to Craig and Danko because they were the ones asking and kind of gave me an extra push. Bogeyman Bill told me about that, and I was kind of not putting it off, but I didn't get around to doing it. So Craig and Danko gave me some extra motivation to get it done because they were asking about general rule of thumb penalties. Shout out to D-Lud for the first video that I did. I posted that. You should be able to see it on the channel. I went through, and the best that I could, did all the different shots and all the different lies between sand, bunkers, rough, semi-rough. I couldn't find the semi-rough, but you get the idea. I went through all those, and then D-Lud went through and actually watched it back and made a spreadsheet. All that came together today, and we started talking about it because D-Lud posted the spreadsheet, and I was like, wow, I really wish that GSPro would give you the ability to hit all these different lies and kind of practice and test all the penalties on a flat driving range. So I sent C-Drum a message, and he was like, yeah, I mean, that'd be pretty easy to do. And literally within like an hour and a half from when I first messaged him, the guy put this together, which one is crazy. Two, it looks unreal in terms of the graphics. And three, he put everything in there to be able to do this test in the most controlled environment possible with completely flat lies, hitting into a green. So major shout out to C-Drum. His logo is on screen like usually is. Go to graybarngolf.com if you want. If you have any GSPro course build needs, anything crazy ideas, fantasy builds, something like this, get in contact with him. And he's also a licensed Foresight dealer and does an awesome job installing actual simulators into people's houses. So I'm here on the menu. C-Drum is going to upload this test range. He called it Hosel Rockets Test Range. I know my video is cutting it off, but he's going to upload this to the public server for anyone who want to use this. It'll probably be up in a couple days, but he sent it to me, and he actually put it in the Discord, my Discord. There's a link to that. They'll see it in the live chat. There's one in the description. You can join that. He also posted that there in case anyone wanted it. But I'm going to show you what we're going to do here in terms of settings to make it, like I said, the most controlled test I can possibly do. The only thing I'm going to have to do after the fact is I urge you guys, if anyone has any kind of things that maybe I missed or overlooked, I think this is going to be pretty conclusive. There's almost everything here besides at the end, I'm going to go to and just pick a course, maybe whatever course that someone recommends, and just do the test with a greenside bunker. I think realistically, greenside bunker, I have a 60 degree, a 56, an approach wedge, which is 51 degrees, and then a pitching wedge. I don't necessarily know, maybe down to 8-iron. I don't know anyone out there that would use anything other than really a wedge out of a greenside bunker. But basically, we're going to be able to do the entire test here on this range/course that C-Drum just did today and put together, which looks awesome. And at the very end, I'll go through and I'll do 3 to 5 shots each with the 60 degree, the 56, approach wedge, maybe pitching wedge, 9-iron, 8-iron. We'll see how long this takes just out of a greenside bunker. And it's all going to culminate. I'll probably end up doing a condensed, boiled down version, just a short, like 5-minute video going over some of this stuff. But it's all going to be put into a spreadsheet, whether I do it or D-Lud does it. This time I'm definitely going to save the spreadsheet. Last time I debated even putting anything out or putting the video out in the first place. I wasn't sure I wasn't really happy with how it came out, but I'm glad I did. I'm glad D-Lud put it together. I'm glad that it all kind of culminated to this. So let's do it. We are going to go the brand new Hosel Rockets test range. We're going to do play. I'm on course practice. Let me just make sure. I clicked it before, but we'll just double check before we get into this. So practice, on course practice, Hosel Rockets test range. we're gonna do. He only did one tee box. You'll see exactly how this looks, which he did a really good job. He was kind of ahead of it. As soon as I mentioned it to him, he was already like starting it before I could even give him any feedback. And he was even kind enough to add wood, like if you're ever like on like a get stuck in a tree or on a bridge or anything that's wood, he added that after the fact too. But we're gonna do 2 foot gimmies. That doesn't really matter, but we just want to see the ball land, and we're really focused on carries and spin rates and all that stuff. Thursday pins are fine. This is where it'll matter. So we're going to go normal, normal, and we're going to go perfect sea level. So other courses you do on-course practice, you either do your global, I would have to change my global to sea level, or you do the course practice, or the course elevation rather. So this is going to be, like I said, the most controlled possible. No wind, 0 feet of altitude, so everything's going to be sea level. You can adjust things if you want. That will just be yardage based on where you live or what course you're playing. We'll do 11 stimps. That doesn't really matter. And I think that's about it. So here we go. Bogeyman Bill, if you're in here, or anyone else, if you can let me know how I can easily change clubs, I can pull up the shortcut, but I want to be able to track the club I'm hitting to. So in the spreadsheet, everything should be there. Besides, I think just the actual like area that I'm in. So I don't think when we pop over to like sand, I don't think it'll tell you sand. It'll just go shot by the numbers on the spreadsheet. It'll have all the data points. So it'll have ball speed, total carry, total distance, backspin, side spin, offline, HLA, VLA, peak height, and distance to the pin. So we'll have all those by the end of it, plus anything that's on screen over here. I have my video over here, and if anyone pops in the chat, it'll be there. I don't think I need to move it. I mean, I can slide it over, but basically, if you want to know what the general rule of thumb penalties are, which basically in that first video I did kind of rendered them somewhat useless. Like if you want to see like the speed and the percentage, I guess maybe I need to do that because D-Lud, he did have that in his video for like the spin loss type of thing. But before I move my video, what Drum did here, hopefully you can see it. He basically made a super long driving range. I'll hit the flyover so you can see it. Super, super cool. He essentially made, this is one big green, and he essentially made a massive driving range. And I mean, he even added fireworks for the 4th of July. He was like, all right, we got to do something cool for the range. So he made it kind of red, white, and blue themed. Awesome looking sky, awesome mountains. But what he did was he made each individual tee a different area. So holes 1, 9, and 17 are the regular tees. I probably won't even do anything here because we all know that's just going to be 100 and 100 in terms of speed and spin. Holes 2 and 10 he did rough. Holes 3 and 11 he did green. If you're ever going to chip on a green, I guess we can try it. I don't think that'll take anything off. Holes 4 and 12 he did sand, so that'll essentially act as a fairway bunker. Holes 5 and 13 semi-rough. Holes 6 and 14 concrete. Holes 7 and 15 pine straw. Holes 8 and 16 deep rough. And then finally he changed at the end here. He changed hole 18 to wood. So I can't imagine. I don't think we missed anything. I think those are all the possibilities. He did say, I'll show you when we get to the wood. There's a difference between when I go over to the tee, it shows wood, and if I place the ball on it, it shows timber. And he does think as well that there's a difference between concrete and I think he said stone, maybe. So maybe we can test that. But I'll hit a shot first, and then I'll move my video over just so we can see the percentages. And I think if anyone has any ideas of what else I need to do just to make sure I can do this once, this is going to take a while, but do it one time, make sure everything's good, and not have to like wish I'd changed anything after the fact or redo anything. But I don't think, good thing is here, today was supposed to be an off day. I didn't warm up and don't really need to warm up because I'm just going to start with a 60 on all these different lies. But we're on hole number 1. So if I hit regular 60 degree, we're just on the tee. You can see the surface that we're on over here. I don't think this will be any different. And then I'll move the video over. Okay, why is that not showing me the last shot? in terms of penalties. Is it just because we're on the tee, maybe? So maybe I need to move it slightly forward. Let's see if this works. No. Maybe they just don't have it on the tee because I'm going to delete those 2 shots. I want to try to keep everything straight. I guess obviously if you're on the tee, you're going to have 100% speed and 100% spin. So we're going to delete those 2. Let's go over to hole number 2 will be rough. Look how cool this is. So I think if I can show you, basically he set it up kind of like TGL. I gave him the idea and D-Lot also said it, but he was on top of it before we even said anything, which is kind of nuts. But if I press F5, we're in free flight mode. We can fly up here and kind of look down to show you what he did in terms of all the different basically boxes similar to TGL. So you see down here what he did. So like whatever he added, whatever he did it as, like say this is like T, rough, semi-rough, deep rough, sand. He added wood right in between, deep rough, concrete, pine straw, all that stuff. So basically he added every single possible lie you could have. And the middle over here, all this like the red stuff, that's all fairway, which again, fairways are going to be 100% spin, 100% speed. So that all is good. But basically every possible, besides again greenside bunker, which I'll do at the very end, every possible lie and penalty you could have. Let's see now. We're on the rough. I still have my 60 degree. And I'm already, let's pull up the shortcut. I already forgot to change the club. What is the club up, club down shortcut? Club down is K. K and I. K and I. I'll probably forget that. Sand wedge. All right, so K. I believe that's on lob wedge. I may just click it so I can see it. So that's on lob wedge. Let's see if the penalty percentage over here pops up. I think it should. Okay, there it is. That's what we're looking for. So I will move my video right there. So we have everything recorded. That was the first lob wedge shot. Basically, it's just going to be as many shots as I want to hit. Everything's going to get compiled at the end, so the more the better. I think it'll help too. Like the big reason for we did all this was because we have a perfectly flat lie, which is tough to find. You saw me struggle to find deep or semi-rough on the actual video that I did. It's tough to find a perfectly flat lie to kind of keep things as constant as possible. But we're on lob wedge. Let's just we had 94% speed and 66% spin. And while we're at it, I promise we'll hit a bunch of shots here. There'll be plenty of swings. Judd actually mentioned that if you press F9, oh, I have to, hopefully that didn't mess with my OBS. I gotta click over here and then do it. F9 pulls up like all the data or something. Okay, what is this saying? Something must be... What the heck does this say? I can't even read this. Sub of meters must be children of the system that spawns them? Sub emitters? What the heck does that mean? I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was F9. Let me look at my Discord. Judd did like he showed me there was like an Encore's practice thing he did, and he pressed F9 and it showed you like all of the full data set, which should be the same. From what I looked, he sent me two side by side pictures. They both matched up. Yeah, he said, "Did you check F9?" So I pressed F9. That didn't look like it showed anything. So I guess we don't need that. So I guess let's just hit a ton of shots and all the data that we could ever want should be on screen. So, continuing on with the lob wedge, I'll hit different speeds, like fuller shots, half shots, and we're going to see if we can get through this in a relatively efficient manner. So, that first shot in the data set. All right, there we go. So that's lob wedge. It has it selected. We're good. Let's just hit a handful of shots. Then we'll change it to sand wedge, which for me would be a 56, and we'll go from there. But I'm curious with like half shots, full shots, if so that one, yeah, the speed and the spin for a little bit more distance, that will affect things based on VLA and all the dynamic type of stuff. But this super large data set, which I don't know of anything that's ever been compiled like this, um, this data set will be really, really useful once either I or DLUD crunch all the numbers. And I think what it'll lead to is a new rule of thumb for what you play everything to. Because personally, I equate everything over to raw carry. So usually what I would be doing, this is coming out 92%. Usually rough I play is 6. But I equate everything over to raw carry, which really is not how GSPro does it. But with us doing it this way, getting all this data together, we'll be able to actually equate everything over to raw carry, which will be helpful. And I am going to switch. After I'm done with my wedges, I'll switch over to my kind of game balls. But these should be good enough to where Square can pick up on them. As soon as I say that, no side spin on that one, so maybe not. But probably go through and clean up the spreadsheet after and delete any of the ones that the Square happen to miss some of the... basically, if there's no spin access and there's no side spin, likely it didn't pick up anything, so we'll clean those up after the fact. But what if we did a little shorter, less powerful swing? So that's affecting all of the... That was only 4%. That's affecting the speed percentage and the spin percentage. No one in the chat yet. We got some people watching, but no one in the chat. Do you guys think it's better if I stay on the rough the entire time and go through my entire bag? I'm going to hit every single club in my bag besides driver and putter. Do you think it's beneficial that I stay and do basically everything in the rough, go like 60, 56, approach wedge, 9 iron, or if I should do this lob wedge across all of them? It's just, it'll be the sorting at the end. I don't know which one would be more useful or not. I would assume maybe it would be more useful if I stay on one, like I stay on the rough and I go through lob wedge all the way down, and then I know as soon as I get back to lob wedge, it's a new surface. That may be the way to do it. All right, that was 5 yards of carry. I think for the rough, it may be helpful if you're just off the green, figuring out what it maybe could be. But all these data sets will help do like a little 2-yard carry. But I think this is probably, I've hit enough now, I think, with lob wedge. And I guess it doesn't really even matter if the square picks it up or not, because that's showing the total spin, whether it's calculated or estimated, and we'll still know based on the penalty whether that's the square misses the ball with these decals that are slightly off or not. All right, that's good enough for that. Now let's go sand wedge. So that, again, that was lob wedge 60 degree. We'll change this over to sand wedge, which will be my 56 degree. And we'll just keep going out of the rough. Go through the bag as normal. I'm trying the same thing. What do you mean? So we'll do some fuller shots, some half shots. Last time I had the open API pulled up, but everything matched completely to the data tile, so that was kind of useless to have up. I think these, well, I'll take more shots here with the wedges because you would have different shots in your bag that you would play with your wedges between like lower bump and runs, higher flop shots, that kind of stuff. When I get up into like pitching wedge, 9-iron and beyond, you kind of just swing those full. So you're really not, if you're going to either take a half shot, that would equate over to like 9-iron. You get the idea. If you're going to hit like a 3/4 shot, you would still get all the data. I don't need to go through and hit like little bump and run pitching wedges. Hitting shots from different rough. So that's what I don't know if you caught the beginning part, Toast. That's what I'm doing. I'm going through every single possible surface that you could hit from. Rough, concrete, deep rough, sand, wood, pine straw, semi-rough, everything. With every single club in my bag. This will end up being, once either me or D-Lug go through it, this will end up being the most comprehensive data set I think that has ever been compiled for GSPro. Still using the 56. I'll let you know when I change. Try maybe a lower bump and run 56. Because it'll all be, we'll be able to draw conclusions based on VLA and ball speed and stuff like that, how certain shots are affected. But, I mean, for the most part, you'll be swinging your clubs close to full. I'll open a couple of these way up. I didn't do that. I don't usually hit super flop shots. I didn't do that with the 60. I could go back and just hit a couple. Those are open 56s. All right, that should be. I'll just do a couple full 56s, and I'll go back and just hit a couple flop shots with the lob wedge, and then we'll keep going. Focusing on 60 and in. So that was fuller. That was 81 raw. I don't really swing that hard with these wedges. 85. That should be good enough for a data set for 56 out of the rough. I'll go and just hit a couple flop shots with lob wedge, and then these rest of these clubs should speed up. I was originally planning on doing 3 to 5 shots for every single one. All right, we're back on lob wedge. 3 to 5 shots, but that was already significantly more than that. Try the best that I can to hit some floppers here out of the rough, see how this reacts. All right, that should be good enough. On to, it'll say gap wedge, but it's my approach wedge, which is 51 degrees. We'll change that down here. Gap wedge still out of the rough. And I can put those over here, and we'll get the game balls, so to speak. Make sure the square can pick it up the best that it can. Good news is, it really does not matter where any of these go. And I am profusely sweating. It is hot in here. It's like 90 degrees again. And I think, just to check, because we're on course practice, yeah, all these are getting saved. Do a lower. Couple lower ones. And based on how I'm hitting these, mainly with VLA and speed, all of the spin and the speed percentages are changing here. I'm going to end up, I can already tell, I'm already hitting way too many shots out of the rough. I probably only need to hit 3 to 5 shots for each club. But I can already tell I'm going to hit a ton of shots here because I want to get as comprehensive as I can. And then as this gets longer and longer and I get tired and tired, I'll probably go down to like actually 3 to 5. Once we get, there's 9 different ones we need to hit all of our clubs on. So we'll make this one the last approach wedge. All right. Once this resets, we're going to go to the pitching wedge now. We can look up, which may be useful, all of my lofts for my clubs. I have a combo set of tailor-made P770s and P790s. My P790s are 2019, and my P770s are 2020, if that's useful to anyone. So you can compare apples to apples with the lofts of your clubs. But, all right, we got pitching wedge selected. We're still in the rough. I do, in fact, have my pitching wedge. Oh, that's a shank. Last time I was swinging at like 50 to 75% on everything, so this should be a little more useful with keeping speed up. Although my 50 to 75% swing may be someone else's 25% or someone else's 100%, so that doesn't really matter a ton. Kind of a lower pitching wedge. All right, that should be good enough for the pitching wedge. All right, switch this now to 9-iron. I can just get these tees out of here. I don't need them. You would never tee up a drive or anything besides, unless you're cheating, you would never tee up drive or anything besides the tee anyways. Stuck at the eye doctor and can't listen. Will this be up later? I guess I want to hear the answer. Yes, it will. And really, I just figured I would do it live. It was either I do this live and go back and forth with you guys, or I just record it. But really, this is just more so the legwork in front of the really important stuff comes when do the analyzing with the spreadsheet after the fact. And I'm still kind of swinging easy. Let's hit one. That's better. Toey, but that was more of a full speed 9-iron. All right. Should be good enough for 9s. Switch. Ooh, that one almost went in wherever this pin set to, 149. We will go 8 iron now. Shanky. One more decent 8 iron, and then we'll keep going. Good enough. That wasn't hit particularly well. It's kind of thin, but 7 iron time. I guess it doesn't really matter a ton on how far they're actually going, because as I keep going here, by the end of this, I'm going to be exhausted, so I'll probably be down a good amount of distance anyways by the end of it. That was the first 7, and it looks like these are all, last one was 94.77, and that's all about the same, so it's staying pretty constant. Probably should have started. I think the deep rough was the big one, so I'll probably go deep rough second. Spend more of my time on that, and then the other ones, I think the rough is pretty standard, because these are all just, again, 94.77. When you do the data, are comparing game versus raw, yeah, it's going to be comparing a lot of stuff. Check out the Discord if you want to see. If you want to see the spreadsheet Deload already did for the first one. Yeah, that was better. Again, it seems like these numbers are staying pretty constant now, 94.77, with all those shots, regardless of where they're going. Still 94.77, so. All right, 6 iron. I'll start counting out just 3 shots now, because these are all seemingly the same. That's 1. Tough without taking 5 hours to do this, to actually have like a full speed, like good contact in every single one. Trying to kind of get through this, but usually, I mean, it's not horrendous, but usually like a pretty well struck 6, closer to 190. 184. 94.78, so we had 1% difference in the spin on that last one. One more 6 iron. And 187. Five iron time. Oh, I chunked it. Guess though, chunks count too. What was that one? 94.79. I'm gonna be exhausted after this. I worked out earlier too. Good enough. Hindsight should have started deep rough and put my energy into that, but we'll do that second. This is a warm-up. All right, those were 5 irons, 4 iron time. I did change my bag in terms of the clubs like a week ago. So I think what I had there was 4 hybrid, 3 wooden driver maybe. I'll tell you what my next club will be. It's a 18 degree or 18 and a half. I'll tell you when I get there, but we may just need to switch around some of the clubs in terms of the spreadsheet after the fact. Don't disrespect those flags. Well, if you look closely, Seadrum was, I don't know how he did it so fast, but he's got mostly American flags, but then the smaller white ones, those have my logo on it. So we'll just say that I'm hitting at my my own flags. This is going to be, though, Danko. That was the first 4. This is going to be super, once I blow my back out doing this, and either I crunch the data or D-Log crunches the data, this is going to be super useful in terms of, so even that one, look how much, going from a 5 to a 4, that data changed a little bit out of the rough. This is going to be super useful by the end of it. What's up, Murph? Yeah, it is pretty cool, right? The fact that Seadrum put all this together as quick as he did. And I showed you at the top, but basically it looks all the same. But if you look at the mini-minis, it's pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool. So he's got rough, deep rough, semi-rough, sand, concrete, wood, pretty much anything you could possibly hit off of. That wasn't a very good 4 iron. That's better. That's how I want to hit my 4 iron every time. 212 in the air, baby draw. I'm not gonna putt. I mean, maybe we could, I guess. I don't know. No one would ever putt out of the rough, so it's not very useful. I just want to try to conserve some time if I can. All right, so that was 4 iron. We're gonna go. It shows 4 hybrid, but this is actually, because I switched out like a week ago. This is a Tour 3 hybrid, so it's 18.5 degrees turned down 1.5 degrees to 17. So this is basically a 17 degree 3 hybrid. You guys are pros for doing this for the community. Well, I mean, I'm out here sweating my you-know-what off doing this, but if it wasn't for Seadrum, really, I did my thanks. You were part of it. You and Craig were part of it, Danko. I did my thanks before. Basically, Bogeyman Bill, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have, I have a list of 100 ideas to do for videos in my phone. But Bogeyman Bill came to me with a good idea initially saying, I'd like to see a video of all different clubs out of the deep rough to see how it comes out. And then I never got around to doing it. You and Craig were asking about the penalties, which gave me some extra incentive, so I did that first video. Then today, D-Lud went through that first video, did the spreadsheet, and then from there, I asked C-Drum, I was like, I had this idea to do this with all the different ones, and then C-Drum did it. So I'm the one out here like a moron hitting all these shots, but it wasn't for all those people along the way, this wouldn't be happening. It seemed like, though, I'm probably wasting some energy hitting out of the rough here. These are all pretty much the same. The rough's really not dynamic. It's the deep rough and the sand, I think, that'll matter. And we'll see. I'll hit a couple shots off like concrete and wood, but I'm almost certain that concrete and wood are essentially zero. And we'll see. I think pine straw plays the same as rough, but we'll see that. All right, one more decent swing with the 3 hybrid. Where's that? I'm looking for that 230. That first one that I hit, I carried it 230. There it is. All right. That's 3 hybrid. Now 3 wood out of the rough. This is a Tor 3 wood, so it's 13 degrees turned down to 12, which I know is kind of strong, but it'll still show you. Yours will be close enough to where my 3 wood would be close enough to how your 3 wood would react out of here. So as you can see, we're already going down now, which is helpful. Before, we were all right around 96, 77. Now we're down to 92 because we have less loft and less VLA coming out of here, so it's penalizing us more, even out of the rough. All right, 3 wood. Felt better than 195. Driver off the deck out of the deep rough for this is incomplete data. Not happening. Hey, if you want to do a part 2, Danko, or I guess if this is kind of the part 2, if you want to do a part 3, well, actually, all right, well, let me correct myself. I already did part 1. This is part 2. I'm going to do a part 3 analyzing all this. If you want to do a part 4 with only driver off the deck out of greenside bunkers in deep rough, be my guest. Oh, man. I think I got to replace the shaft. This shaft in the 3 wood is the only stiff one out of my entire set. Everything else is extra stiff. That one I could feel it up here. Better. Well, this 3 wood needs work, but good enough. All right. Before we get completely exhausted, let's go over to the deep rough, which will be the most important. So we're going to set this back to lob wedge, and we're going to start going to the deep rough, which I need to go back here to see which one it is. 8, holes 8 and 16. So we're going to go over here, hole 8, and now magically we're in the deep rough with a perfectly flat lie, which is pretty sweet. So, lob wedge. Did it default me back? I think it might have, based on the... And I guess, so all those, I can just save them separate. All of those were rough. Now this second data set will all be deep rough. Lob wedge. And so I don't tear up these balls, let's go back to these. For lob wedge, which is 60 degree, sand wedge will be 56. What are we getting out of the deep rough? 81%, 52% spin. This is where we'll see the biggest variance in all the data. And I'll try for these wedge shots to kind of manipulate things a little bit between like fuller wedge shots, lower bump and runs, longer distance, shorter distance. And that was a little bit lower, just to see, to get the most amount in there as we possibly can. Try a couple higher launching ones. This is going to end up being workout number 2. I am drenched, and we're kind of just at the beginning of this. If I'm missing anything, please let me know in the chat if you want to say like, oh, how about like I'm doing kind of the higher lofted, lower lofted bump and run type of shots, but if I'm overlooking anything, let me know. But you got to think, if I kind of shut down and do a lower, almost bump and run with a 60, it's going to come out similar to more of just a choke down 56 in terms of the VLA and all that stuff. So I can manipulate these a lot, but at the end of the day, when you're looking at the raw numbers without telling it necessarily what club, some of the data will match up, whether I'm hitting like a hard 60 degree that I try to flight low, or I hit like a choke down approach wedge, regular flighted. They'll probably come out at similar windows, at similar speeds, if that makes sense. All right. We'll do what I feel is 5.1. We'll go 10, still at the 60. 12.2, close enough. We'll go like 15 to 20. 24, close enough. And a little bit fuller. All right, good enough for that. 56 time. Which in terms of the data will be sand wedge. Again, I'm just hitting shots, but I thought there would be more people that would be interested in this. Maybe if I get really tired, we'll just split it up. I'll do like half of them now, and then next time I come out, we'll do the other half. I don't know if we're going to learn a lot. Hitting off of the like concrete for the car path is so rare anyways. I don't know if we're going to learn a lot from that, but I think the rough and the deep rough are going to be the most most applicable. What are we getting from a fuller 56 out of the deep rough? 81 and 53. $81.52. All right, let me get one up to like 85.90, and then we'll go to the approach wedge. There's a high likelihood that these shorts turn to like, they're like salmon. They may turn to dark salmon by the end of this, because I am absolutely drenched in sweat. And there's 85. Let's go approach wedge now, which is for me 51 degrees. Be gap wedge in terms of the data. Craig probably still sleep up. He's not watching. Only the freaks love this. Sand 2, greenside versus fairway. So the only thing Seadrum didn't add is just because the way he set it up. He didn't do any greenside bunkers, but either at the end of this or if I split this up, I'll just go to a regular course and do that and try to find as flat of a lie as I can. $81.53. What does this change to? $81.53. Which we kind of know. If you're hitting more loft out of the deep rough, you're going to get penalized less. Where this is going to get interesting is where we start going past about 7 iron. Things will start changing because all these are the same. So I can stand here and hit 100 shots with this club, but no matter how much I hit it, the data is not changing in terms of, could be maybe the raw versus game, but in terms of those, which should make it pretty similar, none of that's changing. So that's a fuller approach wedge. That should be good. I can already feel myself getting tired going this rapid fire. Going pitching wedge now, out of the deep rough. I do have a couple of Danko birdie juices keeping me going. Unfortunately, today was supposed to be an off day, but I'm playing 9 on course tomorrow afternoon, and then I'm playing 18 on Thursday. So I'm probably going to be pretty sore from this tomorrow. This was kind of the only time to do it without destroying my on-course rounds that I'm going to pay money for and hopefully play halfway decent. Blow the cooler. I have a box fan right here, but same thing in the winter. It's not insulated, so you're just wasting energy, money. Yeah, it would feel good if I run an air conditioner, but that's just going to eat up electricity like nothing to really not do anything. So it kind of is what it is. I really enjoy the spring and the fall. Summertime sucks and wintertime sucks, but it is what it is. Honestly, these I can already tell. These carry numbers are going to be embarrassing by the end of it because I'm like still swinging. This pitching wedge, if I already didn't hit like 100 shots, this pitching wedge usually I play it to like 130, 125, 130. That one 113. So all my clubs are going to be, when we look at all this data at the end, especially if like we put it out there publicly, like that one I had to take a fuller swing and I got up to 125. But all the numbers are going to be like pretty substantially off what I actually play my clubs to. But it is what it is. Maybe my tired 75% swing is similar to your regular swing, so it'll be helpful. All right, good enough for a pitching wedge. Let's keep going down in loft. I'm going 9-iron now. Again, I want to emphasize how crazy this is that Seadrum put this together in like an hour and a half. It'd probably take me 6 months to figure out how to even do fireworks, let alone all this other crazy stuff. Look at that, though. 139 raw, 110 in the game. 80%, 53. We're starting to drop already. And I can guarantee you that's not 20% on 139, which is the whole point we're doing this. The raw versus carry is the main thing we're going to look at, and that is substantially more than 20%. Because 10% would be 13, 26. I guess it's not too far off. It's actually not that far, but it will be once we get down to like 5-iron, 4-iron type of distance. There's still enough VLA to get this up and out of the deep rough. Oh, scold it. All right, good enough. 8-iron time. I'm assuming whoever does the spreadsheet, either me or D-Lud, will probably watch this video alongside it just to make sure all the numbers coincide. So apologies for repeating myself, but I want to make sure I'm selecting it and kind of announcing what I'm hitting, just so there's no question marks when we go and analyze this after the fact. All right, 8-iron, deep rough. $154, 118, dropping down to 80% now. Oh. Good enough. 7-iron time. This is where we're going to see a big jump, or close to it. That's closer, really. Even if I really flush one, I get it up to 180. That's closer to where I want to be swinging, but I just can't swing like 95% like I usually would at all these without just destroying my back. And 75, but I pulled it. One more. Oh well. Six iron time. Probably got penalized on that because I scolded it. I mean, that was 79, so that should have been, you call that 20% on 158, that would have been 30, call it 30 yards. So that's, again, why we're doing this. That doesn't add up with raw versus game. These longer clubs is what really tax you, trying to swing these full. It's a little more like it. Good enough. Five iron time. How long have I been doing this? Hour and 10 minutes already, just swinging rapid fire. Good enough for 5. We're dropping down though. We're around like 81, 82, and then 80, and then 79. That was 78. And it's going to keep getting worse. We'll go 4 iron now. What time do I usually stream? Usually during the day. This is kind of a last minute impromptu kind of thing. I would say most days around 1 p.m. Eastern, usually. Oh, bad. Also bad. Anyone tuning in, this is a custom test range that C-Drum did. He built it today for me to be able to do this. All right, well, apparently the 4 iron's going like 6 iron distance now after this many shots. So, see if we can get one back over 200. The best one I hit before was 213. $203. That's probably about it. All right, 3 hybrid time. I have a feeling I may do. There's 9 of these tee boxes. So I may do. I'll finish deep rough. We got 2 more clubs for deep rough. I have 3 hybrid and 3 wood, which will be helpful. And I may just do 1 more after this because I am already exhausted taking this many shots. So 4 hybrid in the data. Really, this is a Tour 3 hybrid. 18.5 turned down to 17. Penalties for the rough, Sam, consistent. Have you found out what the percentage on the penalties for the rough? Rough is right around 6%, but that's the whole reason why I'm doing this. You can see on the left side, you can see what the percentage is, but the whole reason why we're doing this is because the percentages don't add up. So that one's a good example right there. It showed speed 75%, which is based on ball speed, not carry, but it was 75% speed, but when you look at game carry versus raw carry, that was half, which is why we're doing this, or I'm doing this, and like that was 100 yards less. which does not equate to 26%. It's not based on that, but we'll call that good enough for the 3 hybrid. Time for 3 wood. Love to watch it after. I need to head out. Enjoy the test. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna do a recap video once we analyze all the data in the spreadsheet. Because my back's already shot. All right, let's do one more, and then we'll end it. So that's it for deep rough. I'll probably split this up into 2 or 3 parts. This is just way too many swings in a short amount of time. So we'll save this. That was rough. We got that saved. That was deep rough. Now we'll go back to 1. You got any preference? What do you guys want to see? I want to see, I think, either concrete or wood. I think it would be fun to see. And then I'll probably stop. Semi-rough should only be 1%. So I don't even know if that's worth going through. Maybe on another day. I have so many things as of late that I want to try to get to. It's just like I keep stacking things on top of each other. Let's try this. Let's try wood. See what happens off of here. Start with the 60. Okay, now why did that not show? So timber, did I not? It changes from wood to timber. So that should have been raw versus game. It was 0.4, so that's basically 100%. Let's see if this changes here. Now it's changing from wood to timber. We'll see if we get our percentages. I think it's just 100%. Nope. Still doesn't show anything. So I guess if it doesn't show anything, that means it's 100 and 100, I believe. Let's try. Try a 4-iron off the wood. .109.5, 109. So I think that's the same. I can try dropping the ball. So that one also didn't change. What if we do this? No, so I think wood, if you ever find yourself on wood, looking jack, by the way, more like drenched in sweat, so this shirt's sticking to me. So wood and or timber doesn't mean anything. And this shows 0.2 down because we're towards the front. But that's not changing. So those were wood. I guess I'll export it. So we went rough, deep rough, wood. I'm not even going to bother changing all the different ones. I think concrete will be the same. Let's do that next. So we can kind of at least knock off some of these that I think may be the same. Which one's concrete? 6 and 14. So concrete, we'll start with lob wedge. How you liking the square toast? Okay, so that one showed. Why was the other one not showing then? That showed 100 and 100 off of concrete, which I remember being on cart pass and wood before, and I think they just play similar to fairway, or just like a tee where you're 100% on everything. That was also 100 and 100. I don't think this is going to change. Let's go 4-iron from the concrete, see if that changes it. Possibly based on VLA. It's still. So wood and concrete are just no reduction at all. You just play them 100% straight up. 100 and 100. Try to do a punch there. It still should be the same. I'm wondering, VLA seems to be the big factor on these other ones. That shouldn't matter though. So we probably won't even end up including that. Maybe just somewhere like as a note that wood and concrete are the complete same. I can try dropping the ball. The C-Drum was saying that similar to timber and wood. It still says concrete. I guess there's a difference between concrete and stone. Change my. We still have the 4. Again, if anyone looks at the spreadsheet after the fact, like obviously that's a 20 yard carry. So that was different though. 20 raw, 26 game. Why is that? Still 100 and 100 though. Anyone looking at this, obviously I'm not hitting my 4-iron 20 yards, so. I'm also not hitting my 4-iron 152, but. Alright, so without hitting every other club in my bag, concrete is just 100% on both, same as wood. Wood didn't even show. Maybe we can go back to wood, so we'll save this. And it's not even worth it. Wood didn't even pop up, so wood's just going to be the same. So we save that. We'll do one more, and then I'll call it quits. So those were quick. T is going to be 100%. Green will be another one that we can quickly eliminate, because I think green's going to be 100% as well. So we'll go to number 3, and we'll try. So pretty rare that you would be hitting. Sometimes you chip on the green. It shows putter, but we'll go lob wedge. Sometimes you would chip on the green, but it's going to just give you 100%, I can almost guarantee. And you would obviously never hit a 4-iron on the green. So doing anything besides really a lob wedge and a sand wedge is pretty useless. So that should be the same. It went away again, but that should just be 100 and 100 in terms of, I'm also going to write that down. Wood, 100, concrete, 100, green, 100. Just to double check, we'll hit one more 60 degree. And I'll hit one. Why you would ever hit a 4-iron on the green, I have no idea. Possibly, I guess, maybe if you're flying fat kid and you tee off and you hit it to the wrong green and you're hitting a 4-iron off the wrong green into the right green, possibly. But I don't think it takes anything off, so. Yeah, it's just 0.4 difference. Oh, it's less because, that's why. The raw versus game is less because I'm at like 295 feet of elevation at my house. So raw, we're at perfect sea level. So that's why. Is that going to change anything, or should I have done this entire thing at my local so it was the same? Huh. Did I just screw this whole thing up? I think you want. Well, no, raw. It's 0.2. Maybe we're just slightly elevated on the tee box. Raw should be. I don't know. Now I'm confusing myself. Can we check off anything else quickly? I think we can do semi quick. Did I save that? I think I may have saved it, but we'll do it one more time. So that was green. We'll export that, which I may have already done. I'm going to have like 10 spreadsheets. Now we'll go semi-rough, which should be 1% across the board, I think. So hole 5. Semi-rough. We'll go lob wedge, and I'll probably call it quits after this because I am exhausted. And I think this will be a rather quick one too. I don't even know if I need to hit all the clubs here. I think it'll be, from what I remember, 100% spin and 99% speed for semi-rough across the board. But I guess we'll find that out. 99.95, so maybe that's what it is. I think it's just going to be that across the board. $99.95. I don't think 3. I'm at like 295. I don't think that'll make a difference. Raw versus game. And I don't know. I'm confusing myself. I don't know if raw is always your local or if raw is... No, because raw would be... Yeah, the game would be whatever you're set at. So raw is coming directly from the square, no matter what. And then the game adjusts whether you're at perfect sea level or you're at like 5,000 feet of altitude. So I did it right. Because usually on the range, the regular range, I have like a yard more from raw versus game because I'm at the 295. All right, let's just try. So that's semi. We'll go pitch and wedge. I don't think these numbers will change, but we'll skip a little bit and we'll go back if we have to. All right, pitch and wedge from the semi. I don't think those numbers are going to change. Should still be 99.95. 99.95. And if there's no variance from approach wedge to pitching wedge, and then I'll go 7 iron, and I'll even go 3 wood. If I can jump that many clubs in between, it's not going to matter if I go every single club in between because it's all just going to be the same. So we'll go 7 iron now in the semi. My space so I can join you guys online, bring a queue, bring a crew. It'll be epic with a cast of characters. I mean, my schedule is pretty packed, so it's not like we're playing every single night type of thing. Between my live streams, my videos, doing 2 scrambles every single week, all that stuff. It's not like every single night we play, but yeah, we can definitely figure some stuff out. So still, that was just like a choke down 7. That was still 99 and 95 out of the semi. So that's going to be, I'm pretty sure, across the board. No dynamic there. And I don't really think that the rough had a ton of dynamic either. It's really going to be the sand and the deep rough, it seems like, that had the most dynamic, which I probably should have spent the most time on. But we wasted a lot of energy before doing rough, which there was a little bit of variance. So that was 7. Just for the sake of it, I'll hit a couple 3 woods, but that shouldn't change again. Still, we're staying at 99 and 95. Whether it shouldn't though. Whether the raw versus carry starts to change a little bit, I don't think it would. It seems like more so from what Deal had put together, the ones where the speed and the spin had a lot of variance was where you really started to see differences. These that are all the same should, no matter what I hit here, be about the same. I mean, 109 or 209, 202, but these numbers aren't changing. So you won't be able to even pull anything from this if you'd have to know that 3-wood's going to be a little bit different out of the semi versus lob wedge, which the average person isn't going to do. So it's still, we've been stuck at 99 and 95 the entire time. Numbers just still aren't changing, so I think this is a to be continued because I am way too tired at this point and way too sweaty to give another full run. But we did a super extensive test spent the most amount of time on rough, which again, I probably should have dedicated all those extra swings towards deep rough. But we have a really big data set for rough. We have a slightly less, but still a really big data set for deep rough. And then we have small data sets for wood, concrete, green, and semi-rough. That one, I don't know why. Maybe there is still a difference with, because I mean, that's pretty substantial going from 174 down to 166. So maybe these ones that I kind of drew a quick conclusion to for semi-rough, maybe it may warrant going back, possibly. But I would just hate to go through and hit 3 to 5 shots every single club, especially full speed, on something that may not even be worth it. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do a couple different analysis on these before I come out again. So be it. If I need to do semi-rough again, I'll do it. Same with wood, concrete, and green. But some of these are pretty self-explanatory. Why that one has a 8-yard difference between raw and game, I don't really know. Probably just because it's taken off the 5% of spin. 1% is not going to do anything. I mean, on 132 miles an hour, 1% would be 1.3 miles an hour, which really doesn't do anything. It could just be the fact that I wasn't really spinning those a ton anyways with the 3-wood, so I'm kind of just bunting them out there. So maybe it's just the fact that it's taken off that 5% of speed, so it's nosediving out of the air quicker. That one will probably be even more substantial. 7 yards on that one, 1,700. That could be what it is. I don't know why I'm getting such low backspin with a 3-wood. 483 with a 3-wood? $3,000 on that one. Now we're within 4 yards. That's not enough, though, for you to even consider it. Like, if you have 1%, even 4 yards, none of us are good enough to have a 4-yard difference, especially with a 3-wood where you're swinging it so fast. All right. I think that's it. To be continued. I am sweaty and tired. I am going to export this one final time. Major shout out to C-Drum. Testing to be continued. So if you can see here on the first tee, I need to get around the green side one. Green side bunker test may just be a completely separate one because I want to see where the cutoff is. Because from what I could tell and what maybe Judd was saying was the only way that they could actually do it would be implementing it from a proximity to the hole type of test. So I'll be curious where the cutoff is, like 20 yards from the green. I would have to find different bunkers at different courses, but I'd be curious where that cutoff is. But we still need to do sand here, which would be equivalent to fairway bunkers. I need to do that, and I need to do pine straw. So sand, pine straw, and then which sand would be fairway bunker. So basically fairway bunker, pine straw, and greenside bunker. We have 3 more to do. Thanks for all the work, no problem. It was a lot, and I mean, I don't necessarily know. Like, these are kind of unofficial tests, and I'm not a robot, so it's like, do I take 4 hours doing this and really focus on, like, as if I was playing, hit like really, really good shots? But I don't really think it matters because, like, maybe my 75% are like really poorly hit 3-wood, maybe someone else is really good hit 3-wood, or vice versa. So, like, I don't necessarily know if the distance matters a ton. It's more so comparing the numbers, whatever they may be. So, I don't know. It's like, I'm not like a data scientist, so I'm sure there's probably things that I could have eliminated or maybe controlled better. But I mean, I got to do a part 2 anyways. Worst case scenario is maybe in a couple weeks from now, if maybe this wasn't quite as conclusive as we wanted it to be, or maybe someone comes up with an idea that would have made this a more controlled test, maybe I just do it again. And C-Drum, he is, I don't know if he already did or he's going to. He's going to submit this for the public server. So anyone out there, within a couple days, you'll be able to download this and do this yourself if you're curious and see if you get any different results. But I think my shirt's soaked, my gloves are soaked. They're starting to get sweat going from my shirt onto my shorts. So I think I'm out of here. I'll call that a good, productive, I guess, second run at this. But this is way more controlled than that first one was, because D-Wood made a good point to where that first test, when I was especially testing out some of the side lies, I wasn't aiming, I was just hitting it. So I was like up or down on the slope, and it was probably, there were some of those that were like 8 degrees right, and I was on the course, so they were going like down a hill into water. So the carry was getting all messed up compared to the whole idea with this was a perfectly flat situation where you can figure things out in a little more efficient manner and control more variables. But I think that's it. To be continued. I gotta go through those. I'll probably label those spreadsheets. But All right, I'm going to end it. Pretty quiet chat tonight anyway, so appreciate you guys watching. Shout out to the members. Shout out to C-Drum. Shout out to Boogeyman Bill, Craig, Danko, D-Lud. Awesome job by C-Drum putting this together as quick as he did. And I'll be back continuing this test. See you guys on the next one.